Have you ever really thought about what makes an after-school program great? It's so much more than just keeping kids occupied until their parents can pick them up. It's all about creating a space where they can actually thrive. So today, we're going to break down the amazing framework that transforms that after-school time into a really vital part of a child's life.
So let's just dive right in. What is it that takes school-age care from being a waiting room to something more? It's definitely not about just packing in more stuff to do. The real secret, it turns out, is having a super thoughtful and deliberate approach to a child's entire experience after that last school bell rings.
All right, here's what we've got on tap. We're going to start with the core philosophy, why it's more than babysitting. Then we'll get into this awesome framework called belonging, being, and becoming. After that, we'll look at the 5 principles that make it all work, see how it looks in the real world, and then wrap up by figuring out what success really looks like for the kids.
Okay, first things first, let's get this one big idea straight. A truly great program is so much more than just babysitting. It's really built on this foundational idea of intentional collaboration.
And this right here is the absolute key. It's a partnership. The educators and the kids, they work together. The goal isn't just to supervise, It's to build on what a child is learning at home and at school by helping them find and grow their own unique talents. And they do it all through meaningful play.
So now, let's get right to the heart of this whole philosophy. It's a really powerful idea that you can sum up in 3 little words: belonging, being, and becoming. And trust me, these aren't just buzzwords. They are the absolute pillars that guide the entire program.
First up, we have belonging. This is fundamental for all of us, right? That need to know where we fit in and who our people are. For a kid, that sense of security and connection, it's everything. It's like the safe ground they need to stand on so they can grow into who they're meant to be.
Next up is being. This is all about respecting the right now. Childhood isn't just a training ground for being an adult. It's this incredibly important time all on its own. A great program gives kids the time and the space to just be, to be themselves and explore whatever they're curious about in that very moment.
And that brings us to becoming. This part recognizes that kids are always changing. They're always learning, growing, and developing. Their identities, their knowledge, their skills, it's all a work in progress. So this is about supporting that journey and helping them find their way as active members of the world.
So, you might be wondering, how do you actually do belonging, being, and becoming? Well, you need a blueprint. And for this framework, that blueprint is made up of 5 key guiding principles that educators use to bring this whole philosophy to life.
All right, so here's that blueprint. And what's cool is how they all connect. It all starts with building solid relationships and partnerships. From there, you create an environment with high expectations and a deep respect for absolutely everyone. And the thing that keeps it all running smoothly and getting better, that last one. Constantly learning and thinking about how to improve. Every single decision comes from this foundation.
Okay, so principles are great on paper, but what does this actually look like on, say, a random Tuesday afternoon? Let's take a look at how these big ideas actually turn into real, everyday actions.
So how do you make these principles real? Well, the main way is through something kids are already total experts at: play. But what's so cool here is that play isn't just seen as fun time. It's treated as the main stage for learning, for solving problems, and for building all those important social skills.
And this is just a fantastic example of how intentional that approach to play really is. See, it's not a free-for-all. The educators are actually planning for different kinds of play. They're putting out props for dramatic play, they're offering board games to teach teamwork, and they're even setting up safe, supervised spaces for that rough-and-tumble play that kids just need to get out.
Now, check this out. This is a perfect real-world example of that 5th principle: reflective practice and action. So a program realized their sign-in process was a total mess. It was rushed, it created this stressful line, and it was making kids feel kind of unwelcome right when they walked in the door.
So instead of the adults just making up a new rule, what did they do? They collaborated. They went straight to the real experts, the kids themselves, and asked for their ideas. And look at this. The kids had all these awesome practical suggestions. Just doing that, just asking, shows the kids that their voices actually matter.
And here's the most important part. They actually listened. They went with a simple but totally brilliant solution that came right from the kids. They put up a whiteboard. Now, children just walk in, drop their bags, and go write their own name on the board to sign in.
And the result? It was a complete game changer. The whole arrival process became calm and welcoming. It gives the kids a little bit of responsibility, and it totally freed up the educators to have real, one-on-one conversations with each child as they came in. That is what reflective practice looks like when it works.
All right, so we've got this whole framework in place, but what's the actual end goal here? Let's look at the final piece of this puzzle, the 5 outcomes that really define what success looks like for every single child in the program.
This is what it's all about. It's about developing the whole child. The goal is for them to have a strong sense of who they are and a real feeling of well-being, but also to be confident learners and great communicators who feel like they're a part of the world around them. When you put them all together, these 5 outcomes are the true measure of a great program's impact.
And honestly, I don't think anything could say it better than this. This quote from a child, it just perfectly captures that feeling of belonging. It's not about the fancy toys or the schedule of activities. It's about creating a place where a kid feels safe and seen and genuinely cared for. You know, like being at grandma's house? It's just perfect.
So, we'll leave you with this question to chew on. Now that we know what goes into a truly amazing program, how can all of us help make sure that every child in our own communities has a place, not just to wait around, but a real space where they can belong, be, and become? Thanks so much for watching.